Jon Stewart was canceled by Apple, but he's coming back to television. Yes, that's right. Jon Stewart is returning to The Daily Show part-time. Sorry, our logo was blocking the word part there, but that's what that says. He's returning part-time to The Daily Show on Comedy Central.
Yeah,
this from the AV
taking
Club.
up watercolors just wasn't doing it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. The painting didn't stick. The Daily Show finally hired a host. That long-awaited leader is Jon Stewart, who will be returning to the hosting desk 8 years after initially stepping down in 2015. According to Deadline, Stewart is returning to the show every Monday night, apparently the show's most watched time slot throughout the election cycle. The venerated commentator
which
hosted...
means at this point, 68 people watch it that night.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Who hosted the show for over 15 years, their typo, not ours, will begin his tenure on February 12th. He's also on board to executive produce every episode of the show through 2025 in order to help shape its future.
We saw how he shaped it with Trevor Noah. John, have a seat. Enjoy your retirement. We don't need your help.
Jon Stewart is the voice of our generation, and we are honored to have him return to Comedy Central's The Daily Show to help us all make sense of the insanity and division roiling the country as we enter the election season, said Chris McCarthy, President CEO of Showtime MTV Entertainment Studios, in a statement via Deadline. In our age of staggering hypocrisy and performative politics, Jon is the perfect person to puncture the empty rhetoric and provide much-needed clarity with his brilliant wit. The rest of the week will be hosted by the show's rotating door of correspondents, currently including Desi Liddick, Michael Costa, and Ronnie Chang and Jordan Klepper. This brings a temporary end to Comedy Central's year-long search for a host following Trevor Noah's departure in December of 2022. Wow, so a long gap there. And then they go back to bringing Jon Stewart in to host The Daily Show. I agree. I don't get the point of this. I don't get the point of The Daily Show anymore. I don't even know how people watch that show anymore. How is this even a thing anymore? Now with YouTube and the internet and podcasting, that show had its place. I mean, it was a great show. They won Emmys year after year, and rightfully so. The writing on that was amazing in the early days of Jon Stewart. He kind of lost his fastball towards the last couple of years, which is why I think he stepped down. But in its heyday, that show was very, very funny, extremely smart. The editing on that show was phenomenal. How they would because don't forget, the show airs at 11. They tape at 5:30. So you're putting together these montages of footage from years past, and just the way they got everything together so tight with the commentary and the timing. In a few hours, they put that thing together. I mean, it was an amazing show for what it was at its time. But its time has passed. I mean, a half-hour TV news and comedy show, what is even the market for that anymore? You're not going to be able to recreate that magic. Not with Jon Stewart at his best, and Jon Stewart's not at his best anymore. He's obviously lost his fastball, which is why he stepped down in the first place.
Yeah, this is like when you went to the farewell concert of that great band, and now they're doing the third farewell tour, and you're like, yeah. They should have left it at the first.
Right, exactly.
I mean, come on, stop it now. Stop it. Already with the problem, you could see, we never got around to it. But we, more than once, we almost did segments tearing apart things that he did on the problem. The Condoleezza Rice interview we were thinking about. His trans episode was so full of misinformation that it made me question his entire legacy at The Daily Show, because the way that he handled spreading misinformation structurally was exactly like what he did on The Daily Show. Get the most unmedia savvy person you can to represent the ideas you're trying to mock, and then easily smack them around in front of the camera. Well,
they did that on The Daily Show a lot, too.
They did it a lot. I'm telling you, when I watched that on the trans episode, I said, how much shit did I swallow on The Daily Show that wasn't true because they structured it this way, where they just got somebody they could easily make look idiotic so that you don't even dig deeper on what the idea is, right? Because it gets somebody so easy for them to mock to represent the other side. And that's exactly what he did with that. The way he, and in keeping with that, he clearly, in an effort to stay relevant, hired it's you can hire a diverse staff. I think that's a great idea. They don't have to be ideologically in the direction of the staff that he hired. But he hired this very woke staff that he clearly felt like he had to keep up with to prove that he's not just the old white man in a position he doesn't deserve. He felt like he had to platform their point of view with his position. And it really felt like he's out of touch, man. He's out of touch. Like the Jon Stewart that we really admired would have parsed out these ideas and actually would have found a way to say, hey, on the one hand, but on the other hand, and I understand why you think this, but what about this? He never did that. He just swallowed that shit and regurgitated it like your embarrassing uncle trying to show he's hip with the kids. So having that Jon Stewart come back and do the Daily Show, all that's going to do is tarnish the legacy of what he left, as you point out, probably at the right time, because even then he lost his fastball.
Yeah, it got to the point where he was just playing clips of ridiculous people and like doing the look, the wide-eyed at the camera, and that's it, with no commentary, with no content of his own. And that's when I think he, you know, like most talented people care about their legacy enough to know they don't want to wait till they can't do it anymore. Until, you know, when they stop. Once they sense that they're on a downward path, they will call it quits, which I think was smart that first time. But he also has a little bit of boomerism in the sense that he seems to think he needs a set and a desk and a staff and a crew. He could do what Tucker Carlson's doing now, which is just create an independent network, start a YouTube channel, and you have your website. You know, Tucker's got the website with the membership and the blah, blah, blah. But he's on YouTube. He's on the different podcast platforms. Just do that. I mean, Stewart is an interesting enough guy, at least he was. He probably still is if he just trusts himself to be himself rather than conforming to the different pressures of the day. If he just did that, I think he would do quite well. I think he would do really well. But he seems old-fashioned in the sense that he needs a production around him, you know, and I don't think he does. So we'll see.
Please clap.